Welcome to episode 8 of the Inspired Conversations with Coaches podcast, where I share interviews with heart centered coaches to inspire you to unlock your true self so that you can have a truly wonderful life. In this episode, we discuss developing spiritual awareness, and my guest is Claudia Agha. She is an awakening coach, a meditation coach, and a non touchy energy healer. And more importantly, having known Claudia for quite a while, she is just such a wonderful and beautiful soul to be around. So this is an amazing conversation and some real great takeaways that you can go and implement and start developing your spiritual awareness. So enjoy the episode. So welcome, Claudia.
Hi, Scott. Thank you.
I've done the introduction, so we're all ready to go. Really looking forward to this actually, because one is you, and two,
Uh,
spiritual awareness is to just feel like I've only just literally touched the surface on the subject, where I feel like I'm quite spiritual, but every time it's a deeper thing. So I think this is going to be a great conversation for people that are just get into spiritual awareness, and also for people to learn about it as well. So I'm going to kick off straight away with how do you define spiritual awareness?
oh, that's a good question. So,
And also part of that, what does it mean to be spiritually awake? Which is here. So
yeah, spiritually awake.
yeah.
So basically, being spiritually awake is you living from what I could say like your sweet spot, your authentic self. It's a deeper connection to you, who you are, really understanding yourself and kind of understanding your inner power. What does that mean, your inner power? The kind of things you're not taught about in school, and how you can connect deeper to the universe, to the energy, and use all these amazing things around us for the greater good, right? So spiritual awareness is when you meet yourself on a deeper level and you have that deeper interconnectedness to you and nature, you're living from a place of love, right? You're living from your heart centered consciousness. So it is a place of much more self awareness, much more inner peace, and true innate happiness.
Mm.
That is what being spiritually awake is that's in a nutshell. But then you can open yourself up in all different ways in order to tap into all this amazing stuff. It really is about truly it is about your inner power.
Mm. I love that. And so, what are the first signs that someone's beginning to develop a spiritual awareness?
Yeah. So there is a whole bunch of different signs for people. I think it's when people start asking those kind of deeper questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing here? What's my purpose? What's my life purpose? But on a really deep level, right? And then you start to become really curious. Okay. So they start getting really curious about what's oneness, what's meditation, what's mindfulness, what's all these kind of things. And then you start to get other levels of symptoms where you start thinking, for example, you might think of someone and then bang, they ring you, right? That happens a lot with us, a lot. It's not a coincidence,
Mm.
okay? Because we're all connected. It could be other things where suddenly you want to have a bit more solitude and you want to kind of just sit back a little bit, right? And you just want some quiet time, you want some me time, where you start beginning to question societal norms, right? Is that correct? Is that the truth? Is everything I've learned in life correct? Because some things are not making sense to me. That's your kind of like awareness opening up, right? So then you start looking maybe into more people understand as conspiracy things. It
Mm.
doesn't make sense. So you start going down the rabbit hole, and this is kind of a stage of awareness. And then the awakening is when you start understanding things on a much bigger level.
Mm.
But there's loads of other things that their intuition heightens. How you feel when you walk into a room, Scott, right? Connecting with those energies. When you walk into a room, you suddenly think like, oh, I don't feel good. Or you might walk in and say, God, it feels amazing in here, right? It could be that your connection with your friend. Another big thing that as you go along the spiritual path, which some people find a bit difficult and some people find a bit easier, is that you suddenly lose friends, but it's out of a conscious decision, right? Where suddenly that tribe is not my vibe any longer. Yeah. I mean, I had it through my spiritual journey, and now I'm with people who are more like for like. They don't have to be necessarily spiritually aware, but they're much more living from a place of kindness and love and compassion, rather than other people who I might met along the way who are more self-centered, angry, not happy. That so you start feeling all these different things, right? You
Yeah.
can't start opening up to stuff. It's a kind of the deepest level of questioning about who I am,
Yeah.
really. Do you feel you've had that?
Yeah, I feel it's funny because I feel, if you like, my own journey, if you like, into spiritual awareness was a bit of, it was all poo-poo and thing. I was a man of science. I was, I was brought up with Star Trek, Star Wars, and all the stuff,
Yeah.
the science stuff, and everything was very science based, and so I struggled with that for a long time. Also, I think in my family there was a lot of mixes of different religions. So like my mother's side, all mother's side very, Jewish, and on my dad's side Roman Catholic, and then we had our, when you're young, you kind of, your neighbors are your uncles and your aunties, but you don't, you they like to do in your house. So even our next door neighbors when I was growing up in Leytonstone were diehard Christians, so very strong Christians. So there was a lot of different mixes in that sense. So a lot of it I sort of poo-pooed. And then, and I just got more curious about it as I got old. I think when, life threw some stuff at me or whatever that I had to get through. And then after that, I got curious around it. And then I got really, I then the awareness for me was like changing the environment. The people around me are having too much negative impact a bit, that if I want to change, I've got to change the people around me and stuff like that. And I think that was the first thing that really started it. And I made a big thing. I think I don't talk about that much in public, but about the story around, I don't talk to my parents and stuff like that now, and I cut all of my family off, um, which drastic, but also the best thing to do. So the connection between me and my wife because of that was just, unbelievable because of it. But also it allowed me to go like almost from restart building my connections, if you like, and my the people around me and stuff like that. And for a long time, I was really closed now to who I would let in, and I think actually a little bit I still am a little bit, but I'm more open to feeling people's energies now and then closing the
And
door,
making that
open the
decision.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so at that stage, it wasn't really like I wanted to get spiritual, but because of l- life threw some stuff at me I had to deal with, and then I just got really curious about it. And the first curiosity was changing who I was around. I mean, just like when coming to connection when I met you and my good people, it's like that felt such an enlightening sort of kind of experience being around different people that were seeing the world in a different way, and it's just that curiosity and constant curiosity, if you like, um and then just really leaning into it more. I think even more when I went to your, trying to think when it was. We were talking about this before, and it's probably 6 years ago. It was your first I Am Powerful workshop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And and even
You
that,
had some aha moments then, didn't you,
yeah,
Scott?
because it was, I knew about meditating, but I struggled with it. So that was the first time I really meditated properly. It was also the first time that I really accepted, and I think this might be something about developing spirituality. I accepted that there was a higher power, the universe. I call it the universe. I don't um say God for me, but the universe and its power and all that. And it was the first really awakening for me that there is a higher power, and I believe there was a higher power. Um, and and the energy from our bodies, with the chakras and stuff like that. So that was the one that really are hard that for me in terms of, and opened up a lot of other stuff. And
Yeah. It's
yeah,
kind of understanding that term oneness, right? So
yeah,
it's understanding, okay, so we've got a physical body, so vehicle, but what's the essence within us, right? What do we understand by the soul, the incarnated soul, and how that works in order to connect with the high above, whether you call it heavenly realm, God, universe, cosmos, whatever your belief is. The point is that we are all connected to that place.
yeah.
And that is what the oneness means, because that's how we're all got this inner connection,
Mm.
right? And yeah, so that is a bit that, and I do that diagram on the board, explain about the incarnated soul and the higher soul
Mm.
and how it all works.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the real eye opener for me, and it set me on a path ever since, if you like. And
Uh,
um, but they also come back a little bit to the spiritual awareness then. With
yeah.
the just developing it though. I mean, I could answer it, but I don't want you to answer it. But developing it as a person, how does that benefit people in their everyday life?
Oh, massively. Like, I mean, in your everyday life, first of all, one massive thing that it does, it boosts your immune system, right? So you become a lot healthier, lot healthier. And there's many reasons why you become a lot healthier. First of all, the amount of energy is coming through to you, so through meditation, is feeding every single cell in your body, right? So everything in that respect, if you like, sparkles.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, so that is phenomenal how it works. But also the second thing is that when you go through your spiritual awareness, you're reaching higher levels of emotion, joy, inner peace, willingness, acceptance, love. So when you get to those amazing stages as well, you're living off such a high level of frequency, or if you like me to say in simple terms, lift your spirits up,
Mm.
right? When you're living from that place as well, again, every single cell in your body is reacting to that higher place. So that's when you say to people, oh, don't you look well? Yeah. Well, why are you looking well? Your skin is looking great. Your hair's shiny. Your eyes are just so beautiful and bright, because literally these people are glowing compared to people that are living in space of fear, anger,
Yeah.
the lack of, their vibrational frequencies down here,
Mm.
and their body and aura is showing that, compared to people who are more up there, who are living in a space of, like I said, love, joy, and happiness.
Yeah.
So that alone is a massive thing that helps. The other thing that really helps you is opening and heightening your intuition, right? Gut instinct. So you're not always just making a logical decision in
Mm.
life. It's what feels right inside, Scott, And it's from there, when you know about your intuition and what you understand, have that confidence to really believe what feels right, go for it.
Mm.
Because that is your higher soul sending you information. That's what intuition is, sending you information to say, I'm guiding you onto the correct path and where you need to go next. And when you do more of your spiritual work, as your intuition opens up, it becomes very natural for you to really understand that feeling in your body for everything in life, everything, people that you meet, you know, relationships, business, what feels good in business, living your life purpose, everything.
Mm.
And it's almost like saying, you become superhuman, because we've been taught in school to use your left brain. 1 + 1 = 2. So we've always been taught to be very logical and cut down all the creative side of us, right? But if you can really match that up, what we call the heart brain coherence, where they're communicating together all the time, which is how they should be, that's the magic.
Mm. I love that. And
Yeah.
because when people are if they're kind of navigating challenges at the moment, or they're um, they're looking for a deeper purpose. Is that where it can help them with that? Because then, so where you said like the frequency, the high frequency is where, so they're operating that low frequency and they're just attracting all the other stuff, are they as
That's
well?
right.
So yes,
Well, when you're in the lower frequencies, so say you're in a place of fear or anger, it's all that you're attracting more into your life,
mm,
right? And then, so what happens is you don't hear your gut instinct, you don't hear any intuition, you
yeah,
don't hear any of those things because you're in a space of complete anxiety. You're not in the present moment, you're lost somewhere in your thoughts, right? It's really, it's what I call a dirty mind, you know, where your thoughts go. So, what happens if you say through the practice of meditation, when
mm,
you can slow everything down, it takes time for some people. I'm a meditation coach myself, and I hold classes from one to one. And through my guided meditations, I have this ability to really help people just get into that beautiful space
mm,
where they can stop all this negative thinking and get into a space where they feel really deeply relaxed. And
yeah,
it's in that space, Scott, that you can hear your inner truth, right? You start saying about living, I want to live my life purpose. Well, the first thing you've got to do, you've got to let go of the negative. You've got to stop this negative ongoing narrative. There's a lot of what's going on in that ongoing negative narrative, the thoughts you had the day before and the day before and the day before and the day before, right?
yeah,
So so yeah.
yeah. I think there's a lot of conditioning, isn't there? Because it's the um, and I was really guilty this when I was younger about the like poo poo and all that's all woo woo and that's all booze prep and all that, and then it's the so you kind of sort of kind of poo poo doing you like that, and then accepting it now and allowing it is just frees up. But we're conditioned, aren't we? People already like, oh, that's not right because, like you said, we're going to school. It's they don't teach that sort of stuff, which they should do. Um, it's a completely different conversation, probably different podcast here, but the but because they don't teach that stuff, is there is that kind of a little bit of oh my, it's the people come across it by accident almost, don't they, initially, and there's like a life challenge that makes them, if you like, bring it out, I suppose.
So what do you mean that they get to a space where they want to change?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
we're
think
because of that
what happened.
conditioning with it. It's like
Yeah.
the people, and I mean, and this if we talk actually going with it, because you talk about just talk about meditation as a meditation coach. So it's interesting that because it's it's probably not. Do you find it's easier people like just meditate that other people just some people get it and other people struggle and
I think you're very right. I think some people get it and some people find it harder, but the point is we're all made the same.
yeah,
Okay. So we all have the ability to go into that place. It might take a bit longer for others, but it's possible for everyone. So when I hear people say to me, oh no, Claudia, I can't do any meditation because my brain is way too busy. And I'm like, that's the exact reason why you should be doing it. But like you say, people put up these barriers and then people poo it, right, straight away, kind
yeah,
of thing. Okay, well, that's fine. But if you don't want to do meditation, what else are you doing to feel much more aware of your thoughts, slow down your thoughts, and allow yourself to have that understanding that you've got negative habits, negative patterns, and negative narrative? Or are you just saying, I will just carry on as I am, kind of thing, and always choose to live in that space?
yeah,
But the whole point that I try to say to everybody, we are all born the same in the sense that we all have the ability to go through a spiritual awareness. Some people it might take longer, some people it might be harder, right? For other people, it might be easier. For example, sometimes people are triggered into a spiritual awakening because they've had a near death experience, right? Or they've had a sudden loss, or they've gone through massive adversity. I personally didn't have that in my life. I got to a space where I was quite self aware, but I was becoming curious of how to develop that even more. I didn't go through spaces of adversity, right? doesn't mean that I haven't had challenges along the way in my life. I have, of course, I have. Okay. But it just means that everybody, if you start having that way of starting to question things, this is a golden opportunity where now you can open yourself up a little bit more. And meditation is one of those tools to help get you there.
There is any specific um meditation practices that you recommend that specifically for people who want to deepen their spiritual awakening, if you like, and but don't do meditating at the moment, or have, which it's fine when I talk to people when it comes up, it's like a lot of people he said, well, I would tried it and doesn't, and I said, well, I was like that, and now I just can't go a day without meditating. It's like it feels weird if I've not meditated in the morning and stuff. So, um, yeah, is there any specific meditation practices then that you'd recommend that people can do if they're in that way where they are struggled or?
Yeah, definitely guided meditation,
Mm,
right? Because with my meditation, for example, first of all, we do 4 minutes of Vici breathing. And this 4 minutes of breathing just really lowers the blood pressure, slows the breathing down, and really gets you into a nice space of relaxation because it's
yeah.
quite rhythmical, the breathing, right? Then what I do is my own I Am Powerful guided meditation. And I say to people, just listen to my voice. If you can visualize, fantastic. And I'm going to take you on a journey. And as part of that journey, certain things are going to happen. And whatever comes to you, comes to you. But a lot of my I'm Powerful guided meditations are very much about emotional healing and physical healing as well. Because when you're going through your spiritual journey, you have to let go. You
Yeah.
have to come with what I call, you have to empty your cup. Whatever you've already learned, you have to kind of let go of that now, right? So with a guided meditation, it helps people to get into a space where, because they're visualizing, their thoughts are no longer going on a tangent of, oh, I forgot to record EastEnders today, or am I going to have egg and chips for dinner tomorrow, or whatever. But the point being is that you are being taken on this enchanted journey. Now, when I do also my guided meditations, in some of them, I bring in what I consider higher help, right? So I work with the archangels, for example, and the kind of experience people have from that, who have never meditated in their life, don't really know what it's all about, have no idea, have the most phenomenal experiences, and they're hooked. Wow, that was amazing. I saw that. This message came to me. I feel unbelievable. I've never felt so relaxed, and I'm talking about these are beginners. And actually, when I
Mm,
do my I'm Powerful guided meditation, I encourage beginners. I'm like, come, if you've ever once in your head thought, oh, what's meditation, or can I try it? Please come and just give it a go. Because at the end of the day, Scott, you're really just lying there, all comfortable, with a pillow and a lovely blanket, and I do the rest. How gorgeous is that? So in other words, what I'm saying is it's worth giving it a go, because you go to a place that you've never, maybe not have experienced
yeah.
before. It's beautiful.
I would agree. I think when I struggled initially because there's too many thoughts coming in, and then someone who actually Stuart Kerslake made a sort of kind of, I can't remember what we talked about, and he just said about, I'll allow the thoughts to come in and just let them go out, whatever, and that just was a big game changer for me in terms of that sense. And but then I think the guided meditations, particularly obviously the other ones I did with you and I, Powerful Festival, that was a changer because it just put me in a place where I don't think I could ever go without being guided. But also the ones I think I really like if I feel like my mind is busy, I kind of go ones where like the Sandchrist ones, the abundance ones, where I've got a mantra that brings me back into the, if I find my mind going off, then just
Yeah,
to go
lovely.
back to the mantra. Um, yeah, so it's really cool about the guy. I think you're right about guided meditation, especially your ones, yeah, because that was an eye opener for me.
Thank you.
I think it made me think as well with that when you allow yourself to go, people allow themselves. I think that's what you said, like letting go is a big one, because I think that was my big thing, is I have wanted to give it a go, but was also holding on to a lot of stuff that that wasn't allowing it to go, if you like. And the it's that there's something funny enough where I was always the one where I needed proof. It said like there were gods and all that. Was I couldn't believe it because I needed proof that it was science. But the but I had I can only call it. I don't know if I've had this conversation with you before. About my divine intervention is the only way I can call it. Have I thought?
Oh, tell me,
But
you might have done.
yeah, and this might help people develop their spirituality, because it allowed me to really, I suppose, it wasn't funny because I was already believing, I was already getting more curious, but it was a sign for me that actually afterwards, funny enough, the situation it was on, but then afterwards it was a sign for me to go, I need to delve deeper. And actually very soon after I did the 12-hour walk, where you walk for 12 hours with no phone, and you walk out in nature with nothing. And there's a video I think on the YouTube channel with it, but the about it. But the so I had a project that I was working on. I won't mention the people. You know the people actually, but I won't mention the people. But it was just not sitting right, and I knew it wasn't sitting right because I was kept thinking about it, and and like getting on the calls and stuff like that. I was getting frustrated with the how the project was going, everything like that, and I knew I had to have a conversation to say, look, this is not right for me. You know, not just my time it was taking up, but the energy that I was feeling, and it was like big. So I knew I had to have that conversation, but obviously I was ducking having that conversation because the resistance was setting it. And kept having this thought, and then and the reason was because I knew that if I'd had this conversation, that it would potentially, there was a potential of, I was already making up these things, obviously resistance in my mind about what could happen, but there was a potential that I could lose a good friendship, right? Um, and and that was a bit of where I didn't want to kind of have this conversation with this person, because I didn't know how they would take it, and I think, and I, they might take it the wrong way, and it might end the friendship and stuff like that, which I didn't want, but it was turning over my head all the time, constantly. And then I was really thinking about it, and I kind of was in here actually in this office here, and just sort of deep thought about it in a bit of silence. And I had this voice, and it scared the life out of me, but also excited me at the same time, because the voice wasn't my voice. It wasn't the voice in my head, like you hear yourself thinking or whatever. Uh, and it was like it was someone over my shoulder, you know, and telling me basically I've got to do something about it.
And did you listen?
And it absolutely, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it actually.
Oh, I love that.
But
That's confirmation. That's
it
signs of
yeah,
confirmation.
absolutely threw me for a spanner. It's like I was, oh my God, what, and like who was that? Like I actually outside the door.
You're like that. Who was
Yeah,
that?
because I'm in this office is in the garden, so I opened the door, and is it, the son about, is it about, who it was, a man's voice, which was interesting, and but it wasn't a voice that I'd ever heard in my life before, and it wasn't a godlike voice, it was just a normal voice. But the only way I could rationalize it in my head, and it was almost like I hated saying it, but it was the only way that I can rationalize it. It was divine inspiration, right? And then literally, I I sort of sat on it a little bit that night, and then the next day, fun enough, I was at the gym, which not often for me, but and I literally halfway through thing, Jimmy's, I was like my birthday with my son. I said, no, I've got to go make a call, got to go talk to someone, and I just made a call and just said, look,
That
I'm
was
not,
it.
yeah,
So you dealt with it there and then.
dealt with it there and then. And I
Wow.
didn't get the reaction that I wanted to. I didn't get the dream out. I got the reaction that I was worried about. I may have energy brought that in actually, sort of kind of manifested that reaction, because that was the reaction I thought I was going to get, if you like. Um, but actually, all moving forward, it's all good. And but it was just such a, and when I made the call, it was just like a lift. it just lifts.
Yeah.
It really
Do you
was.
know why? Because also, I think a lot of people seem to forget that the anticipation is always so much worse than the event itself.
Yeah.
You already knew what you needed to do, Scott,
Mm.
right? But you, like you were saying, were resisting. So your intuition was telling you, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. And then you've got this really clear voice in your head,
Yeah.
right? That gave you almost like I call getting a wet fish and being slapped round the face and say, are you now listening,
Mm.
Scott? Because this is what you've got to do. And you did it,
And I
right?
needed
And
something as big as that, I think, to make me take that action. That was
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
You know, I always say about, I mean, that's a bit of a different thing, but in terms of you think about life lessons, right? So if you remember when we were talking on I Am Powerful, and I was saying about like how we have a blueprint of Scott in this lifetime, right? So there's a certain blueprint, and sometimes you veer off that and you come back onto it and you veer off it. And there's certain things that will happen in your life, kind of thing, but you have willpower as well. So you can choose in life what it is that you want to do, kind of. But what I was going to say about that, I've completely forgotten. I forgot what I was going to say about it. Um, anyway, we'll get back to that.
Everyone's got a blueprint, you say. You was,
Yeah, yeah. So I was going to say everybody's got blueprint, and there's things that happen along their way in their life. But the point is, oh, that was it. Thank you. In terms of your life lesson, people have repeat patterns in life,
mm,
right? Oh, it's a repeat pattern. Once again, I've got a failed relationship.
mm,
What? Because I behaved in the same way, or I've attracted the same kind of person, or
yeah.
whatever. And what happens is every time you have a life lesson, it might be difficult, it might not be easy, but it's a learning. When
Mm,
you're spiritually aware, you look at that time of challenge and you say to yourself, what am I learning from this?
mm,
Once you've taken the higher level of understanding and information you've learned from it, it's done. But for some people who don't have that level of self awareness, they do it again,
mm,
right? So then they have this repeat pattern. But what happens in life, it gets worse.
mm,
And the reason it gets worse is because you need to wake up and learn. So the next relationship you might go into will be the same kind of thing, but a lot worse. Are you listening now? Probably, maybe not. You'll go into another relationship and it'll be 10 times worse, right? It's almost like literally getting on your knees and surrendering to understand what that lesson, that life lesson is, because it's about
yeah.
growth. Once you understand the life lesson, so the point is with you, maybe also what you went through there was to give you an element of self-confidence in
Mm,
understanding you knew you had to do that, you knew that was the right answer, and if you dealt with it sooner, you might not have gone through as much pain and suffering and anxiety, right? But now what happens is because you've had that experience, you gain confidence and understanding your intuition and what your gut instinct is telling you.
mm,
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's,
it's everything's a learning. This is a classroom.
and
We're all here to learn. People come into this lifetime at different levels.
mm,
Some souls are more evolved than others. They've been here many, many, many times before. Some are a bit more newbie, i.e., some people are in nursery level and some people are already on PhD level, for example,
yeah.
right? So but as this is a classroom, it's an opportunity for you to learn because as you learn, your soul is evolving.
Mm,
You're getting greater, you're getting stronger, you're getting a lot more wisdom.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of remembering what the reason why you're here in the first place and who you are.
Yeah. And that's the awakening part, isn't it? And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
when people are developing their spiritual awareness and or just getting curious and really getting into it, and it's probably what's driven them to this podcast if they come across this. Because you also do I will laugh at because an energy coach, because I laugh because of the misprint on the thing where it's snaggy coach, but an energy
Yeah.
coach. Where how can and I suppose I ask you this where the how do you help people clear their because I was going to ask you how people can clear energies, but I think it's more it benefit people actually if I ask you like how you help individuals clear energy blockages that might be preventing because I think that in my experience a little bit that blocks a lot of the the developing of these spiritual awareness because you've got these certain energy blocks. My own one a little bit was not receiving. They're not receiving compliments, not receiving, and actually that was stopping me receiving a lot of other stuff. Um,
Right.
but how do you help individuals then clear them energy blockages that they will have if they're just getting into spiritual, just thinking about or curious about it, there'll be some energy blockages that are happening there.
So for example, people that come to me for my non-touch energy healing sessions, the majority of time people come to me because they've got a physical ailment or problem or, disease or pain or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll find that 9 out of 10 times those people have come to me because they have emotional blockages, which cause, if you like, the energy blockages. And many, many times those things are caused by traumas that have happened in their past. A lot of it childhood trauma, what happened, what they visualized, witnessed as their, with their parents, what their teacher told them. There's a whole array of different things. And it could be some people have had things that have gone on in their adulthood. But like I have the most amazing transformations of before and after photos, because a lot of the time when you're healing within, you can't actually visually see it. You can feel it. But like, you can tell me, oh, I feel so much better, Claudia, thank you. But people who've come to me with skin disorders that you can see with the naked eye, psoriasis, eczema, and we've taken before and after photos, the transformation is phenomenal. And these are people who've given up on medical intervention because it wasn't working for them, right? And how I worked with those people was finding out what that trauma was, right? Through conversation, through transformational coaching as such, and then being able to clear that out for them energetically as well, whilst also giving them some tools and techniques of things they need to do every day to help change their mindset, their belief system as well, right? Well, when we cleared out the emotion and when they were doing all their different, like doing meditation and things like that at home, and then I was doing the energy healing, the physicality, the physical healing of the body was amazing. And what's actually happening with those people is that their inner frequency is changing.
Yeah.
They're going from down here to up
High
here.
frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I do my energy healing, I'm actually pulling out all what I consider the dark, dirty energy of lower emotions that have been stored there forever. Because we're not taught of how to release all of that. Yeah. So where does it all go? It gets stored into the body, it gets stored into the aura. And that energy is feeding off thoughts. Thoughts are feeding off the energy within the body, and it becomes a little bit worse until people really make that conscious decision, like, I've had enough. And what happens also, I'm not against anything medical, of course, never would I be. But sometimes the body needs additional support when you're going through a medical intervention, right? It needs that support because sometimes medicines do one thing to help and do one thing that don't help, okay? But also what it really means is that people have to deal with the internal emotional mental system that's going on for them, yeah? Once you, like you say, can let go of those energy blocks, the healing is truly transformational. But it's not just the healing, it's your everyday life after that. Yeah, it's the everyday life that I'm not carrying all that baggage around with me anymore, Scott. I'm not linked to that chain anymore. I've cut the cords. I've done my forgiveness. I've moved on. Yeah, and that is what's beautiful, because a lot of the time, actually, it's not a lot of time, it's all majority of the time, that when people come to see me, they don't know what the issue is. They don't actually know. People that have come to my I Am Powerful event and we do that work, they come and they say to me, actually, Claudia, I thought I was coming here to talk about something else, but something completely different has come to me. And I thought I dealt with that ages ago. And that was something that happened to me when I was 7. And I witnessed my best friend getting run over. I thought I dealt with that ages ago, but no, you know. So
Yeah.
it is quite incredible how it works. And I'm just helping you and assisting in your own healing journey.
Mm.
It's a decision you make within yourself to go on that healing journey and put
Yeah.
in the work.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Yeah, you're definitely, I can testify, you'll walk away with something that you completely didn't expect.
Yeah.
Um, so right, so with spiritual awareness then, and people to be watching this that or listening to this, start exploring stuff, and probably you'll start a little bit aware of frequency and stuff like that, and they're starting to get into stuff, but they've got busy lives, right? There's a lot of excuses for people. So how can people start integrating spiritual awareness into their perceived busy life? They think they're
Yeah.
because they
Well,
without feeling overwhelmed by the concept of indulging more.
I think first of all, I think people have to have an intention, right? And live by intention. And that is, do I want to do the spiritual work in having that self-discovery, right? So there are morning rituals that you can do, there are afternoon rituals you can do, there are evening rituals you can do. And depending on how far you want to take this, some of these things are minutes, that you can do that will put you in the right mindset, will set an intention for you, and will also clear, if you like, your energy to start your day off really, really well.
Mm.
And then you can do like a sort of 10-15 minute meditation during the day. And then in the evening, before you go to bed, you can do different things, for example, like a gratitude journal, right? And just spend a few minutes in the day of all the great things that have happened to you and what you're grateful for today. Okay. There's real blessings in doing that. But I mean, these are just a few ideas, but I'm trying to tell you in terms of what your daily schedule would be like. There really doesn't have to be massive chunks of the day in order for you to do this.
Mm.
Okay. It's all about value. You'll always find time, Scott, to watch a program that you really enjoy watching. Could be an
Yeah.
hour long, but you'll always find that hour to watch it, right? You might always find that time to go on the golf course, which might take a whole day, for example, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it's a good thing. But it's the value we put on things and the intention. So if that intention is, I want to open myself up more and more to my spiritual awareness and awakening and meet myself on a deeper level and become a better version of myself, I will do the work. It's that simple. And the deeper you take this, then the more involved that work can be.
Mm. Yeah.
But so what I'm just trying to say is if you feel you've got busy life, then it's really easy to kind of implement this
Mm.
into your life.
Yeah, I think that's the probably a big misconception. You don't It's not like it's going to take like half your day or whatever like that. You can do things in,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's
um,
more about routine.
yeah, yeah,
If you can get into that routine that I spend 5 minutes in the morning doing what I need to do,
mm,
right? If I can spend that routine where I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes on a meditation at any point during the day,
mm,
right? And if I can spend 10 minutes or 10 minutes before I go to sleep
mm,
and just have that quiet time where I can connect to myself,
mm.
right? Great.
And I suppose also managing people around them, isn't it? Because when I started getting into it, my wife and kids are not into it,
Right.
right? But it was important to me, and there's a lot about me, my best self is benefits them, if you like, because if
Absolutely.
and I think that was that if you like strength of it, because I think it's easy for you to think, well, I want to do this, but then your partner, your husband, wife, whatever, oh, don't do that, it's stupid, ridiculous, because of their own beliefs or whatever, their own position. But then you will notice that people will give you that freedom if you like to do it, or they're better at doing it because of they see a better you. and you just start seeing it. I think if you keep it as a habit, don't you? If you go, right, I'm going to make it a habit, I'm going to do it consistently for the next 30 days. I think once you get through that, you won't want to stop because you're getting different compliments. People are seeing a better you, you're feeling better. Um, I
But
always say,
also
yeah,
it's on a kind of a deeper level than that, right?
mm,
Because what happens is, yes, they see a better version of yourself, but really what's happening is you're lifting your vibrational frequency,
mm,
okay? Which means then you're in a better state of happiness, love, joy, and bliss.
mm,
But that is an energy.
yeah,
And that energy you're bringing into your house, into your home. When
mm,
you're sitting on the sofa, you're constantly emitting an energy, right? And then your wife picks it up. She
yeah,
doesn't understand really why or how it works. But then your daughter picks up and your dog picks it up. And then things become, that nicer feel. So then they really love who you are because your being has an impact on everyone.
mm,
The whole, I mean, like to the universe. Remember this oneness,
yeah,
right? So every day you have a choice. You're either emitting a lower vibe frequency of fear, for example, or anger, or shame, or guilt, or you're emitting a much higher level frequency.
yeah,
And what the planet needs right now is a lot of people as a collective consciousness vibrating for this higher level energy because this high level energy changes even weather patterns,
mm,
right? This high level energy lifts all the people that are still down there.
mm,
It's incredible. The more, for example, Dr. David Hawkins' work, The Map of Consciousness,
mm,
right? And he was able to study and prove that if you have one person that's vibrating on a really high level, how it impacts so many people around them, it's
mm,
unreal. It is, and that's why also, so what happens is when you're this person, this high state of being, people magnate you. You bring people to you, they magnate you because, God, naturally, whether aware of it or not, we magnate to people who are happy. We magnate to people who are giggling and laughing because they're lifting you,
mm,
right? When you go to a party and you see someone sitting in the corner that looks quite miserable, you're very unlikely probably to go and sit with them and have a conversation.
yeah,
Yeah. You're always going to naturally go to people who are vibrant.
yeah. I was saying with people with their content, that's so true because they used to like obviously work predominantly with coaches, and they said that if you look at people that when if they come through a, I don't know, like a major challenge in their life, right, a major adversity, they don't, when they talk about, they become a bit of an inspiration to people when they talk and they're telling their story. They don't talk about, I was told to do this, I was told to do that. They always talk about, I was inspired by this person, that really motivated me, and the inspiration from that person or the inspiration from that. So they always talk about what's inspiring them, which is people from a higher energy inspiring people rather than the lower,
Yeah, I love that.
so just saying, do this, do that, and I talk about this, I think I talked about this before. We have a podcast around like people with depression. People with depression, if you're for someone with your depression, they're getting told what to do all the time, do this, do that, take this pill, do this, whatever. And that's sort of resistance. But actually, when they get through it, it's more about then, inspiring them to do it, And it's they're always kind of for me, like, because be that best version of myself and to be everything, but actually it'll benefit because then my family, kids, and whatever. Oh, what's that you're doing? It's like my 11-year-old daughter now. Because I have um the when I listen to stuff in the car, is I'm very in tune about listening to frequency stuff at the time. And what's this, and they know that I listen to it, but they're curious. It's getting them curious about it at a younger age, which is what part of the aim of it as well, is inspiring them to go rather than say, oh, you need to listen to this, by the way, this thing is actually just doing it and then being curious, going, oh, what's that you're listening to? So they're inspired by it rather than me.
They say that a child's programming has been done by the age of 7,
Mm,
right? So, in order to give our children a really good opportunity to have a great life right from childhood and feel like you're saying inspired by the time they reach adulthood, a lot of it comes from the parents and the environment they've been brought up in,
Yeah.
right? And all the inspiring things that their parents have said to them. And that's why doing work for me with adults, I know has a knock-on effect on their family life
Yeah.
and their children. Yeah, as a minimum, even their work colleagues and everything. And I think, for anybody that does have children, for anybody that's thinking of having children, is the best thing that you can ever do is, yes, obviously be physically healthy, but be mentally and emotionally really healthy as well, because you're bringing in that new soul into that environment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that ripple effect is huge, isn't it? And you'll never know how many people.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it's always I always think it's you don't find out for years. It's like like the when we was before we started recording, and I said because we haven't spoken to you, I mean, I can't believe
Yeah.
it is, but probably actually physically, if you're like, well, not face to face, about 6 years, probably 5 6 years. Um, but I showed you that card that I've still got, and that you handed out, and it's like you haven't known that for that 5 6 years. Whenever you go that to me, probably go to me probably 6 years ago, 6.5 7 years ago. Um, but you wouldn't have known that that's had an impact on my everyday life because I'm seeing it every day. I put it. I'll show the audience here. The people that watch it on YouTube, people on Spotify, no good, won't be. But it's just you can't see the heart quite, Jenny. But oh, that's it. There you go. And it says what it says. A card just it's just a piece of card that you hand out in it, but we all had a different one, and mine says focus on what really matters. And there was a time where that was really important to me, so it stayed here in the office. But you didn't know that on a day-to-day basis, and I think that's the impact it has that you don't know it's having
Exactly.
on
I
people.
think what happens is when people do these events, meditation,
Mm.
come do a workshop, people get whatever it is they need at that time. And I always say to people, you can come and do my 1 day program, and certain things will resonate with you. And those things that resonate with you are the things you really need to work on right there and then, right? Give it a year or so, they may come back, and this time they hear things very differently. And then other things will resonate with them because they've progressed on their journey.
Yeah.
So I always say that for people to really understand about spiritual awakening, it's work in progress.
Mm.
Yeah, we're always learning, we're always improving, and it just doesn't stop. But it's a beautiful thing because it's almost like having a jigsaw puzzle of little jigsaw pieces, and eventually it will all come together and click in, and da-da, and so that's what I really love about it, because I say to people very simply, it's like peeling back the onion layers.
Mm.
You've got to peel back the layers that you've created of yourself, all these belief systems that are no longer really working for you, and peeling them back and letting them go in order to get that into that sweet spot of that deeper connectedness of you. And yeah, it's ongoing. But what I'm trying to say to people, even though it's ongoing, it's a beautiful journey. It's not
Yeah.
about the destination, it's about the journey.
Mm. Absolutely. Um, with that in mind, when someone um they're on they're exploring like so higher states then of consciousness and spiritual growth. How do they at the same time stay grounded as well in that? Because you could easily get lost into
Oh,
complete, so there's a little bit of, and I think it's interesting you say journey because I think I've not really thought about it before, but sort of kind of thinking about it now while you're saying that I've never always treated it as like bit at a time, like one step at a time that I'm doing. And I know there's this staircase is endless, right? There's no end to it. But it's probably helped me be that grounded, realistic, whatever, all of the normal, as I'm going on this journey. But it could be easy, but you could easily lose
I'm
yourself into it.
Yes, I totally understand where you're coming from. So the thing is with me, right, and especially with I Am Powerful, it's a left and right brain conversation.
Mm.
So if I suggest something about vibrational frequency, I scientifically prove it. Okay, so people can really understand it because I
Yeah.
think it's really important to have balance, like you're saying, for
Mm.
remaining grounded and balanced, because the idea is, yes, we're connecting to the above, but we're here. We're here on planet Earth. We're here. And
Mm.
therefore, you must be grounded. And there are grounded exercises you can do that are brilliant to do in the morning when you wake up. And again, only take a couple of minutes. But it's also to understand that you become more dynamic the more grounded you are, right? So it's a balance. What is above must be below. And if you can live with that understanding, that's great, because you're right. Some people tend to lose themselves during their spiritual journey, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit of experimenting, right? Sometimes then they might not always want to stay in that space being what I consider too woo woo as such, right? The idea is being balanced so you can be dynamic
Mm.
in this lifetime. And there are two chakras that when they are really strong, you are very dynamic and you are grounded where you need to be, but you can always connect. When you connect, it's a natural thing. It eventually becomes a natural level of consciousness. It's not
Mm.
like I have to meditate in order to connect. You're always there,
Yeah.
you're always connected,
Mm.
because that's how it works.
Yeah.
But like funny enough, because balance is really, really important to me. And one thing that I had along my spiritual journey was getting my birth chart done. Do you
Mm.
remember I mentioned about that
Mm.
before? And your birth chart on the exact date and time and location of where you were born, if it's done with a real professional astrologer, gives you an idea of your incarnated life
Mm.
now, right? And kind of a little bit about who you are, why you're here, what you need to do, that sort of thing. And I actually had my birth chart done. I had it done about 7 years ago, might even be longer than that. And when I read this, it was a 90-page document.
Mm.
And when I read it, I was like, oh, really? Okay. Da, 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 da. And now all that information is amazing, phenomenal information. But my birth chart, interestingly, for anybody that's into astrology, I don't know if you can see that so much.
Yeah.
But my birth chart is very much, oh, there we
That's
go,
it.
balance now. It's very, very much about balance.
Mm.
And that is what's really important. What is above must be below.
There was something unusual about your one as well, wasn't there? There was something
Yeah.
synchronistic
My
about yours.
Yeah, my birth chart has a nine-pointed star. And in astrology, they don't know what a nine-pointed star is, but the nine-pointed star is made up of three grand trines. So I have what's known as the six-pointed star, which is what is above must be below. Okay, so it's that balance. And that is very much about balance and power and linked to the chakras in the body as well. But the third grand trine and the way it's positioned makes it a nine-pointed
Mm.
star. But do you remember I was always on a quest to kind of find out what does
Mm.
that mean? I mean, if there's nothing in art, in astrology or any text or journals or anything, there must be a reason for it. But I think I've got to that level of understanding now. But yeah, it's beautiful. I recommend anybody to go and get their birth chart done,
Mm.
actually. It is phenomenal information, phenomenal. It's not like, oh, I'm a Piscean, so luck is on a red door number 14. It's nothing like that at all. It's talking very much about you as Scott,
Yeah.
in this incarnated lifetime. Because my belief is that we have all been here many times before,
Mm.
because it would almost be impossible for your soul now to learn everything that it needs to learn in just one lifetime. It's impossible, because you're only living from a man's perspective for a start, and I'm only living from a female perspective for a start. But yeah, so your soul that has been here many, many times is learning new lessons every time.
Mm.
And the more the soul has been here, the more evolved the soul is. And that's why they say you're an old soul, right? That's where that expression comes from.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
go down a real rabbit hole with that one.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. This is
So
like my favorite
yeah,
conversation.
um, let's talk about the again a little bit, but the people that if someone's really getting into this a little bit, but um they feel stuck in it, so they're really like engaged and everything we've gone through. You know, you talked about really embracing that, but they're just feeling that they've. You might have had with some clients where they've had a spiritual breakthrough, but then they feel stuck on
Yeah,
what to do with that breakthrough. You know, like a little bit I shared a story yesterday that I had that divine inspiration, but there was a choice there to do something, to take action and do something. You know, is that if I hadn't, I would just been still a bit just stuck in that mode of what to do and how to deal with it. Um,
yeah, sorry.
so yeah, so no, I suppose I was just trying to give it to
Yeah.
you. Question
Well,
where
I think when,
people that struggle with they've got to struggle with spiritual breakthroughs, or feel stuck in their awakening journey.
yeah, and I think that you've just hit the nail on the head. So I think when people are stuck, they're at that stage where they're going to their next chapter, the
Mm.
next level up, right? It's the in between bit. I'm stuck here because you're like almost a bit like I'm neither here, neither there. Oh, I feel stifled, you know. And it's like you just said, it's the breakthrough moment that then will take you up to that next level. And that breakthrough moment is a place of real letting go. Okay. Don't put expectations on it. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't then be forced into the lower emotions of fear. I'm not moving forward. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. This is not happening for me. Right. I use this expression a lot with my clients and the work, and I say, trust the process. You have to trust the process because even in that, what I call that stage is a learning,
Mm.
right? And that learning is about stop trying to force things, you know, just let it go. Just concentrate on all the amazing things that you're thankful for. Stay in that place of gratitude and appreciation. You might feel that it's slow or it's not happening or that hasn't happened to me or what have you. Part
Mm.
of the learning, right? It's part of the learning of letting go and not expecting things like that, for example.
Yeah,
It's a journey. I've been there. I know exactly what that's like, right? And I just have to really feel and trust in myself and the process, right? So it really is about letting go, understanding what it is that you want, but letting go of the expectation.
mm. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not easy, but you can get there.
that I think that is probably one of the most difficult parts of it. Is then even when you do, if you might meditate on a certain thing that's bothering you, whatever, but then to do that meditation and then let it go, and then just as I was trying to think of someone had done guided meditations and just saying at the end, let it go and let it flow. And I always like that. I can even say that, but I can't think of his name. It might be Zach, someone it's coming to mind, whatever. But but that is really a difficult part of it. But that's the learn of it, isn't it? It's just letting it go and knowing that you've done what you need to do, and it's gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Actually, the letting go is the power, actually.
Mm.
Like you can hear I've different stories about people that were so holding on to an outcome. They were so holding on to an expectation.
But then you are
that
in lower frequency stuff, aren't you? Like want, I need to have.
You're in a place of fear, you're in a place of anger and resentment, you're in a place that leads on to a life view of disappointment, frustration, all these things. Yes, that is the totally the lower vibe. And you actually get stressed, your body gets stressed then, right? But it's kind of funny because as soon as you can get to a place of, okay, look, let's just let it go, right? I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to let it go. And then when you let it go, these things come in because there's no resistance then, right? There's no resistance that you've built up for yourself. And that's why they always say in manifestation, you have to let it go because
Mm.
it has to be able to have the opportunity to flow into you. Yeah. Otherwise, we build our own resistance. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it's not going to happen to me. This never happens to me. Oh, I'm not good enough. Da, 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 da. Okay. Well, whatever you believe is what you're creating for yourself because we're co-creative beings. So if you believe that, so it is.
Mm. Yeah, I think this bit the powerful part, isn't it? I think one of the things that really opened my eyes up, coming back to your I am powerful one originally, was the self-talk stuff. It's like, if you say self it's not going to work, well, it's not going to work.
Absolutely. And that's why people are learning about how powerful we are, right? Because your thoughts is a vibration. What you're thinking, it might not come out of your mouth, Scott, but if you're thinking that, that's what you're putting out to universe. That's what you'll attract. That's what you'll create for yourself because it's a perception of your own reality.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's like you have to be so aware of your thoughts, like so
yeah.
aware, and that will come from a level of self-awareness.
I think that's the big awakening moment was, if you like, it's an inside out job. It's not the outside, but it's
Yeah,
the inside.
absolutely,
You create. I say there's a lot when I remind myself of it a lot of times, match, but you create your own reality. And that's, yeah. And
absolutely,
either way,
absolutely.
whether it's a negative or a positive outcome, you create that, and it's powerful when you can take responsibility for that, I suppose, and then let it go from that. But it's an inside job, when you rather than
Yeah, I really like that.
yeah.
It is an inside job, definitely.
Um, we could divert and go into it. So I think it's a good time to end it.
Oh, okay. I've loved
We could
this.
talk
We're
to
talking
our
about my
we talked
most
about it, didn't we?
we're talking about my most favourite passionate
Yeah.
subject. It's
And
so beautiful.
it's been amazing. It's been really always, because I think this will attract people just by the title of developing a spiritual values, which really giving them some insights, and also I think some inspiration. Some of the stuff you said, about actually I want to go and explore more then, so obviously depending when people listen to this or watch this, we're going to put your details, your website in there. Uh,
Thank you.
the But you hold these Iron Powerful workshops, don't you? It'd be
Yeah, I call it a one-day program. I do, yes.
and where do they hold? They were face to face, aren't they? Not online. They're face to face.
No, the face-to-face.
Yeah.
I like to do face-to-face ones because people are then with sorry, we've got a visitor. I knew eventually she'd come. She'll always like to come onto the video. This is
Oh,
Cleo. We do face to face because it's really nice and healthy to be around like-minded individuals, you
it's the
know.
energy as well, isn't it, in the room? I think.
You're so right, Scott. It's the energy in the room. I think that's important. Let me just come on, Cleo. Off you go, darling. Yeah, it's the energy in the room, exactly like you're saying. It's that group energy. But I think also with the different exercises we do, you do it in the group. So there's some individual work and there's some things where you bounce off each other, which is so beautiful. There's something really powerful when you've met a complete stranger
Mm,
who then says something about you, kind of
mm,
thing. And you're a bit like, wow, is that how people, you know, feel what they get from me, what they feel from me, and all these different things. So I like it when it's in a group atmosphere. And we do some meditation and we do lots of different other tools and techniques. I'm doing one on the 9th of November, but I will have future dates coming as well. And it's just an opportunity to just spend one day from about like 9:30 till 4 to learn
mm.
so much information to impart to you, right? That I put in this one day program, which could take people a long time to research and also try and get the right information. But I put it all together and have helped people learn about the tools and techniques of how they can get to that better
Yeah,
place of that interconnectedness,
yeah,
right? And I just love it. I mean, like the kind of the self-realizations people have and those aha moments, and it's just a real beautiful way that if people are kind of wanting to know more about it, it's a great springboard to take them further on that awakening journey.
I think also it would accelerate that that starting journey for people and get them on the right path, if you like, and
Yeah,
um,
totally.
it's amazing. So we'll put the link to your website. So wherever
Thank
people are listening to
you.
this or watching this on YouTube, then they go to the description and the link will be your website, and then you can check out when the next workshop is. But it's been an amazing everything that I knew it was going to be an amazing conversation with you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
I am so grateful for you, Scott. Thank you for giving me this time and this platform to hopefully reach out to people who might find this exceptionally interesting for them at the right time. So I am very grateful to you, my friend.
No, Victor, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.